Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about how to get out of debt and the quickest way to do it. Now before we get into the video, make sure to hit that like button, and if this video adds value to your life at all, make sure to subscribe. I do make new videos just like this one every week. Okay, so let's get right into the video. The first thing that I'm going to talk about, guys, if you want to get out of debt, the very first thing and probably the most important thing is to get yourself on a budget. Now, a lot of people don't like budgets because they see them as controlling or restricting, or they think of it as, going to control your finances so you have no financial freedom. And as someone who does live on a budget, I can just say that that is not the case. I never have to worry about finances or how I'm going to pay rent because I literally always have the exact amount of money needed to pay rent or needed to pay my certain bills set aside at the beginning of the month, literally named for that thing. Guys, budgets are honestly just financial freedom and a plan for financial success and nothing more. That's all it is just a plan. And another excuse I hear people say is if I'm on a budget, then if something comes up halfway through the month, then I can't buy it because it's not in the budget. And so I'm kind of restricted there and my money's controlling me. And to that, I just say you can have a couple options. Have an emergency fund, so if emergencies do come up during the month, you don't have to mess up your whole budget and you can just take care of it there. My other option, guys, is just to wait until the next month. If it's not in the budget and something comes up and it's not an absolute emergency, then you can always just hold off and maybe you don't have to buy it right then. So if you're trying to pay off debt but you're not on a budget, in my opinion, that is the least effective way to pay off debt, and especially not the fastest. That's actually one of the slowest ways because all your money is going everywhere and you're not keeping track of anything. If you can get on a budget, you can control almost every aspect of your finances. You can control where each dollar goes and see where every single dollar is going. That means that if you set a goal that you want to save 60% of your paycheck to paying off debt and you're on a budget, then chances are you're going to hit that goal a lot easier just because you're in charge of your finances and you know, yeah, I have this 60% set aside specifically for paying off debt, and you know that you can without your rent coming up or something else taking that money away from paying off debt. Okay, so the next thing that I have for you guys to help you pay off debt as fast as you possibly can is to list your debts from smallest to largest. And I mean write them down, guys, on a piece of paper, whiteboard, whatever you have, and you're going to want to pay off your debt from smallest to largest. And I'm sure some of you guys are thinking, but James, I thought you were supposed to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first. And that's not a bad idea. I'm not saying that that's wrong at all. Logically, in a perfect world, that would make the most sense. But I would not do that personally, and here's why. As humans, we need encouragement, and we need to feel like our efforts are actually going towards something and going somewhere. If we don't get this fulfillment, if we don't feel this way, then we're more likely to get discouraged and quit. That's why paying off the little debts first, in my opinion, is the better option. You give yourself a little win quickly, that way it'll motivate you and make you want to keep going more intensely than you were the previous month or the previous couple weeks. Once you pay off that first debt, it's kind of like a dopamine dump, and you're like, woohoo, I did it, we did it, and it's going to motivate you, and you're going to be like, oh, let's get the next debt, let's get the next debt, let's get the next debt. Let's dump 70% instead of 60% into this, and just keep going stronger and stronger. Make a chart or a graph or something, like I said before, with everything listed. So either a whiteboard, paper, whatever you have, and once you pay off the debt, so the first debt you pay off, mark it off. Put this somewhere that you'll be able to see it every single day. And so whenever you cross off a debt, you can see that and you can remember. It's kind of a reminder, what you're working towards, and that little win always in your face, so you'll just keep going and keep going. Okay guys, the next thing that I have to help you get out of debt really quickly is to be intensive. Look at your life right now and think truly, am I spending money right now that I don't need to be spending? For me, I would look, have I been going out to eat more often than I need to, 2-3 times a week? Or can I just stay at home and make food at home, save some money and put that towards paying off my debt? There are so many things that you guys can cut out of your life. There can be subscriptions that you guys don't use, subscriptions that you really don't need, that you're paying for every month, that money could be going towards paying off debt. There can be services that you use, maybe lawn care services or what have you, and those are things that you can be doing yourself, mowing your own lawn, and you don't need to be spending money on that every single month, and you can be using that money to pay off your debts. And looking at it on a much bigger scale, if you have a car that has a huge car payment attached to it, is that something that you actually need, or would driving around a little Honda Civic, much cheaper, get the job done just as well? Let's say you're paying $400 a month, $500 a month for a car, and you're able to sell that car and you get a little cheap Honda Civic, and now instead of paying the $400, $500 a month to a car payment, you can pay it towards paying off your debt. And that's just being more intense and more aggressive on your goal of paying this off. If you guys have to live a little bit more poor than usual, then that's okay. It's really okay. Is your goal to live lavishly and be in all this debt and all this financial bondage and never really reach your financial goals? Or is it to live lavishly but be in no bondage, be in no debt, and the sky's the limit? Depending on how aggressive you actually want to be, instead of taking away certain things from you, you can also add certain sources of income to increase how much you pay off debt. I do talk about that in a few other of my videos just to give you guys some different ideas of sources of income or different side hustles that you can do to help you pay off debt more aggressively. Alright, my last thing I have to help you guys get out of debt quickly is to reward yourself. Doing this will add more incentive and motivation to be more aggressive and to pay off your debts quicker. Just to give you guys an example, let's say you have 10 different debts that you have to pay off. What you could do is split up those 10 debts, 2 debts at a time. Every 2 that you pay off, you give yourself a little reward. The first couple rewards are going to be a little smaller, like maybe something you really enjoy, like maybe a concert or shopping for clothes. Maybe you give yourself a couple $100s to go shopping for some clothes, or whatever you enjoy. If you're a car person, maybe you can go get a muffler on your car, or just a little thing, the first 2 debts, some incentive, some reward, something else to work towards. Then as you work your way up and as you do 4 debts, 6 debts, 8 debts, and eventually 10, once you pay off all 10, you could do something really big, like maybe a cruise, or maybe a Cancun trip, or Europe trip, or just a really big thing. So it's like, we're debt free, we did this. Put these incentives and these different things that you want to do in for yourself to make it more exciting to pay off debt. Make it so you're constantly rewarding yourself, so it's just one more reason to get super excited about paying off debt. And one thing that I would say about putting these incentives in is just make sure that you pay for them with cash and not by going into more debt, because that kind of defeats the purpose. The whole goal for doing this is to get out of debt, so just make sure that you actually save for them, and maybe you do the first 2 couple debts, and then you take 2 months, and instead of saving and putting that towards your debt for those 2 months, then maybe you just save that and save it for the concert or for something that you enjoy. But just don't go into debt to get these things done. And same thing with the big trip to Cancun or on a cruise or whatever you want to do. Make sure that you take the time to properly save for that trip so that you can ultimately pay for the whole thing in cash. Okay guys, so that was how to get out of debt quickly. If you enjoyed that video, make sure to hit that like button, and if it added value to your life at all, make sure to subscribe. I do make new videos like this every single week. But have a great day guys, see you next week.